Hi, I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping. Welcome to my craft corner. Today I have some fun cards to share with you using basically die cuts. There's very little stamping in these cards. Instead, I am die cutting from pattern paper. I'm going to be using the Euro Peach pattern paper. Now you might have seen me already use this paper lots and lots of times before. I've been using it with the Sweet as a Peach stamp set, which is what it is designed to match with, but I decided to do something a little bit different today. During the month of July, Stampin' Up! Has placed a number of their pattern papers on sale for 15% off, which is, not much, but really great deal for Stampin' Up! And one of those papers is the Euro Peach pattern paper. So you can get the paper for these cards on sale through the end of July. If you would like to take advantage of that, check out the description to this video where you're going to find links to my shopping page, or you can hop over to my website where you're going to see more photos, dimensions, and the supply list. You can also shop directly from the supply lists, which makes it super easy. If you have any questions about card making or Stampin' Up! Or how to get started, please go ahead and contact me. Leave a comment below or send me an email. Let me know how I can help you. If you like today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, and then share it with your friends. Okay, Onigo, let's get stamping. So today I'm going to be using the In Bloom stamp set, kind of. I'm going to use a stamp from this, but mostly I'm going to be using the Pierced Blooms dies. Let me show you this die set. There are 25 pieces in this die set. It is huge. Look at all those dies. Now, it is bundled, or it was bundled in the January to June mini catalog with the In Bloom stamp set, and they do kind of have the same look to them. But what I was a little bit disappointed when I got it was that none of these dies will cut out any of these stamped images. They're all completely different. So they look very similar, but they're very different. They're different stamps. So as far as I know, I've looked and looked and looked at them, and I do not see where any of them cut them out, right? So you don't need to have both of them. They do look nice together. And they were bundled together. But anyway, so I'm going to use the Pierced Blooms dies for this. And what I have done is I have gone through and I have die cut all sorts of shapes, like all of these shapes. Now I cut these from the Euro Peach pattern paper. Love the Euro Peach designer series paper. And I thought it would be really fun to have patterned shapes. So I cut them from a bunch of that paper. I'm not even going to show you the full paper pack because I am down to so little of that paper left that I can't even share it with you. All right. To go with this, I have a base that is Calypso Coral, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded in half. I have a piece of Balmy Blue, and this is 3 15/16 by 5 3/16. And then I have a piece of the striped, right? This is the Euro Peach paper, and it is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then I have a piece of the Calypso Coral, and I cut this with one of the stitched rectangle dies. And then I cut a piece of white to fit in the center of that. And that piece of white is, I always have to remeasure these, is 4 1/8 by 2 3/4. All right. So the first thing we're going to do before I do anything else, because I forget this every time, this is the key to this whole what do I want to say? This whole setup here today is to start by stamping the sentiment first. Stamp the sentiment first. Don't just leave a hole for it, because what I find is that I inevitably do not leave enough space. So I'm just going to come right up here at the top, and I'm going to stamp in Happy Birthday. You really are the best, with a little bit of Balmy Blue ink. My Balmy Blue is super juicy, so that is nice and dark. It will lighten though as it dries up a bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere this piece of basic white to my rectangle of Calypso Coral. This is just going to go right on the front here. And then I'm going to start building. Now I like to lay it out first and then glue. So I'm just going to start laying some things out. I'm going to put in maybe we'll start with these. I kind of like to start with them. Let me see. There are two different, so those ones are the same. There are two different, ooh, this is just cardstock. I don't really want that one. All right, so somehow I ended up with them all. I guess they're the opposite of this. So there are two different of these like leaf clusters. They go two different directions. So I'll put that one maybe down there and this one up on top. Then I like to come in with my biggest flower. Put that in, and then I'm gonna put a couple of smaller flowers. I might not lay this whole thing out, but I just kind of want to, get an idea of what I'm doing and where I kind of want things to go. So I think I might, what happens if I pull in this big one over here? We'll do the small one up here. Every time you do this, it's a little bit different, so that's why it's always good just to lay it out. That'll work just like that. So I kind of just like to put down a base, but you can't lay out the whole thing because it just gets too fussy and stuff moves. But I just like to get an idea of where things are going. And then as I go along, I will of course lay a few more things on and see what it looks like, and then glue down a few more things, and just kind of keep going like that. Put a little bit of multi-purpose glue on this first one. We'll go ahead and stick that one down there. And glue this one down too. I think I'm probably putting too much adhesive on this. It does kind of like to seep out the holes in the piercing, which is not ideal. All right. So then I'm going to glue down the big one. I think I want to put down maybe some extra leaves over here. Oh, the adhesive is really seeping through the holes, so be careful. Don't put too much adhesive on because it is going to come through those holes and get on the front. I think I'm actually, for this, I think I'm going to switch. I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Seal if I can find it. Okay. I have my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to switch to Stampin' Seal just because the amount of adhesive coming through that hole is much worse than when I was making the samples. When I did the samples, I was not having that problem nearly as much as I am today. So that's okay. We'll just switch adhesives. This is why there is more than one adhesive. Why there are multiple adhesives. So I'm just going to lay down some leaves. It over here. I want to pop up this other small flower on dimensionals, and this takes a little bit because I like to make sure the whole thing is nice and supported. So I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on each of the petals. Yeah, I use the minis for the petals though because the petals are pretty small. Grab my take your pick tool, I'll just pull those right off. And we'll put this up here. Oh, it's looking good already. I'm going to put some centers on these flowers. So I cut the centers from crumb cake cardstock. There's that one. I have little centers for the little ones, which of course need little dimensionals. Little centers, little flowers, little dimensionals. So we'll put that one over there. And put this one over here. There we go. Now I want to add some blue flowers. I think I might just do little ones. So normally I add some bigger blue ones, but I'm thinking maybe just a couple little ones, and this might be all it needs. That would work pretty well there. All right. So I'm just going to put a little dot in the center. And try to stick these in. I might have to use the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool. Do that. So I'll just pick these up with my Take Your Pick tool. Hold it on the end there. Put a little bit of adhesive on. And I have lots more samples to show you after I finish this one. So make sure you stick around. All right, so there's that little one. Then we're going to add this one. Oops, too much glue. Too much glue. That will go crazy. So we'll just pull some of that off. Let me see, where was this one? Is this one up here? Maybe, there we go. Oh, that's looking so cute. All right, so let's just kind of slide my flower bits. I'll put those back in my stamp case. So I always like to keep my die cut pieces inside my stamp case. I used to put them all like in a bin thinking I'll use these later. I have found that keeping them in my stamp case, I'm much more likely to use it, because the next time I pull out those stamps, I'll open it up and be like, oh, look, I have these pieces. And then, you know, if they're the right color, or maybe I decide to just do something in that color, I just find that I'm a lot more likely to use them when they are in the stamp case. So I don't know what you do. Maybe you put yours someplace else. Maybe you just ditch them. But I just tuck them inside, and I have them for next time. All right, so I'm just gluing my piece of that blue, that balmy blue stripe to the piece of balmy blue cardstock. And then this is going to go, try to get my card the right way. This is going to go on the front here, like this. And this is going to go up here. And I kind of want to get some baker's twine on here. So I'm going to grab my white baker's twine. I'm using the one that came with the snail mail combo pack, but which we don't sell anymore, right? Because that was discontinued at the end of the, you know what? I don't normally do this, but I think I'm going to do this. That was discontinued at the end of June, right? So instead, you can use the Essentials, the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. That has white Baker's Twine in it as well. I just happen to have some of this here, trying to use up the rest of my roll. And it is exactly the same Baker's Twine. It is just packaged differently. So there is my little bow. Now, normally I do not, I know a lot of people just stick bows to their cards, which is what I might do today. Normally I don't stick bows to the front of my cards. All right. Normally I like to have a reason for the bow to be there. So I like to have the strings all the way across, right? But I think today I'm just gonna tuck this up underneath. Either that, or I like it tucked underneath. So maybe I can tuck it. Maybe I can tuck it under here. Like maybe, I think I just want it like right here. Normally, I don't know. I don't like to just stick bows, like stick it on the front. To me, it is like sticking a hair bow, right? Or, you know, sticking your butt bow on your bridesmaids dresses. Like, it has no reason for it to be there. It's just like plopped on the end. It's not my thing. If I have a bow, I like it, you know, I like it to have a reason. Like, it is tying something. It is holding something. So normally I don't do this, but I think, you know, you always break your own rules, right? You have what you normally do, and then sometimes you just gotta do something different. So I am just gonna glue that on there now. Baker's twine kind of bugs me sometimes because it likes to twist. And that is what has happened here. Now, sometimes if you pull the loops in and out, you can get them to untwist. Sometimes you can't, you know, like if you hold it straight while it's going. That is my one complaint about baker's twine, is it just wants to twist. All right, we'll snip that off. And now this is going to go together on nicely. All right, let's go ahead and let me see. We're going to put this straight on the card front. And then this I'm going to put on with a few more dimensionals. This is going to be a super dimension card. Now don't forget, I do have a few more samples for you. So I know this is kind of the end where I'm just gluing stuff together, but you're going to want to see these other samples because they are super cute. At least I think so. I don't know. Maybe you don't think so. You have to let me know. All right, pull these off. Last one sometimes is hard. Sometimes I get too many on my little take your pick tool. So we'll just pop that right on the top. Now again, see, I broke so many of my own rules on here. Normally I don't use highly contrasting colors in my layers. I like to either keep it the same color or colors that are, you know, next to each other on the color wheel, so it doesn't create a sharp difference. It's not highly contrasting, but I kind of like that. So there is that card. I was going to make an inside for this card. I don't have. So I keep a stack of basic white rectangles on my craft table that are already cut to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. So they're the perfect size for inside my card. But of course today I'm out. I need to cut a bunch more because I just sit down and I cut a whole stack of them all at once. And then they're always there, except for when they finally run out, which is what has happened today. So I just have one of these. I have another strip of the Euro Peach pattern paper, and I'm just going to take this. This is my absolute favorite thing to do for the inside of cards, is just take a strip and put it on the inside. This one is shorter, but that's okay. We'll just do it like that. And then maybe we'll take a flower. Should we take a flower and put a flower on here? Why not? Why not, we say. Let's grab some leaves too. And I'm going to need it inside of my flower. There's another leaf. All right. So let's see. We'll put leaves, flower. That'll work. That'll be cute. Always like a little bit extra cuteness on the inside, right? All right. Again, I'm using my Stampin' Seal because we found out that the multi-purpose glue was just seeping through those little pierced holes on this a little bit too much. Okay, there we go. Of course, I'm not going to use any dimensionals on the inside of my card. Now, if this rolls too much, you can just kind of roll it with your finger. Get it started again. There we go. Then I'll take my snips and I'm just going to trim the edges off from the underside. There we go. And that just makes it square again. And then we'll put this inside my card. Look what I did. I put it upside down. All right, so, well, let's see if we can fix this. I bet you I can fix this. I didn't even realize. So this piece is not 8.5 by 5.5. It is 11 by 4 1/4. I forgot that I had done it like that. I pre-cut it the other day. All right, so nice thing about Stampin' Dimensionals is you can kind of peel it back off if you're careful. All right, so it tore the paper a little bit, but that's okay. It's not going to show. And we'll just flip this around. We'll try again. Let's flip it around and try again. Ooh, I forgot something else I want to do. I'm just so forgetful. There we go. Let's add a little bit of bling to the front. If I can find the right thing. Where did they go? Here they are. So these are just the pearl basic jewels. I feel like I don't use these often enough. I'm just going to grab them off with my Take Your Pick tool, and I just want to put them right in the center of those little blue flowers. I just feel like the little blue flowers needed some sort of a center, and these seem to be the perfect thing for this card. And you'll see I did this on a number of the samples, maybe even all the samples. There we go. Just a little bit of bling on there. Now, let me show you those other samples that I got. So there's the birthday card that I just made. Here is one that's more like a wedding card, where I kind of went crazy with all of the flowers. And this is from the Artistically Inked stamp set. And then you can see the inside too. Oh, and the inside stamp is from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. So I just kind of pulled a bunch of stamp sets. Then I have a thank you card, and this is from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. That one's kind of cute, isn't it? With the crumb cake on there. And here I cut, well, I'm going to show you on the next one. I only did it on one of these, but I'll show you the next one. I did it on a bunch, and we have it on the inside. And then I have this one that You Are Amazing. Now I cut these. This is no longer from the pattern paper. This is just from cardstock. And I used my blending brushes to just blend in some Pale Papaya ink onto the Pale Papaya cardstock. And I did the same with the Pear Pizzazz flowers. I just blended in some Pear Pizzazz ink from the outside, and it just kind of adds a little bit more texture to it, a little bit more definition to the edges. So there are my 4 samples. Only 4? I feel like I had more. There might be more on my website. All right, there's my 4 samples. Thank you so much for joining me today. What did you think of those fun Pierced Blooms cards with the You're a Peach Designer Series paper? Isn't that fun how you can cut images from the pattern paper and have fun patterned images? I really love it. Thank you again for joining me. If you liked today's video, make sure that you like, subscribe, share it with all your friends, and then come on back and see me for more tips, techniques, and inspiration. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.